Hello there and welcome back to another episode of our Luminar NEO Academy, the show where we help you to get the most out of this photo editing application. Now, if you've never been here before, my name is Jakub and I'm a creator and founder here at Clever Photographer. Now, before we're going to start, I have a few things I want to cover. First of all, at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you access to our popular Luminar NEO shortcut cheat sheet, so you make sure that you stay until the end. Also, if you don't own Luminar NEO or the HDR Merge plugin, get our discount code to get the best possible price, and you can find it in the description of this video. Finally, I would like to ask you to please like, comment and share on this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel so we can keep creating content like this. Hello there and welcome to another video where in this one we're going to take the new Noiseless AI extension and compare it with the other three AI noise reduction software. Now this is something we've been asked for the past few weeks, so here is the video with the results. Now this is something would pop up in our comments over and over for the past few weeks, so here is a video about it. Now there are a few things I want to mention. First of all, this isn't really deep dive test or anything collaborate, we're just gonna take an image and try it in each of the applications and see the result. Number 2, Noiseless AI is only 2 days old at the time of the recording. So you really want to be careful when you start to comparing it with other applications like DeNoise AI from Topaz or so on. Also, we only tried one image and I'm sure that the result will vary based on the different images and different photos. So what we're gonna do now, first I'm gonna show you the image we're gonna use and tell you a little bit more about it. Then I'm gonna show you how to run the image through each of the software. And at the end we're gonna compare the results and share a few thoughts about how each of the application did. Finally, if you wanna see yourself, you're more than welcome to download the sample files, which includes the already edited images, and you can check them on your own screen. But now let's have a look at the image we're going to use. Now the image we're going to use is this capture of the bluebell in the forest. As you can see, there's nice sharpness on the flower itself with a soft background. Now I wanted to go for something a little bit more complex, as that would be the kind of image you would run through AI noise reduction software. Now looking at the camera setting, I shot it with a 1/125th of a second, f-stop was 8.1 and ISO was 800. The camera I use is a Sony a7R Mark IV, which is a 35mm full-frame camera with 61 million pixels. The lens I use is Sony 24-105 f4G. Now what we're gonna do with the image? We're gonna take it and transfer it to DNG format and then run it through each of the software. After that, we're also gonna take the image and turn it into JPEG and run it through the software again. So that way we can see how well the software does with RAW files and JPEGs. Now let's have a look at the software we're going to use for this test. First of all, we're going to use the Noiseless AI extension from Luminar NEO, which you can get as a part of a bundle for $25.60 per extension, or you can also get it for free as a part of your subscription, which go between £6 and £11 monthly. The second application we're going to use is called NoNoise AI 2022, and it's designed by ON1 software. If you want to get it, it costs just over £53, or you can get it as a subscription for £8 or £9 monthly. You can get it as a part of the ON1 software plugin, or you can also get it as a standalone app. The third application is called PureRAW 2, and it's designed by DxO. The price of the standalone product is £115. And if you want to learn more about it, you can visit their website DxO.com. Finally, the legend on the DeNoise field, the DeNoise AI by Topaz. For the price of $79.99, you can get the standalone application, and you can find out more about this app on topazlabs.com. So now we know what image we're going to use and what software we're going to test. So let's go through each of the application and run the images through it. Okay, so starting here in Luminar NEO with the Noiseless AI extension. As you can see, I already have the image ready here, so just click on it to select it and then move it into Edit module by clicking on Edit on the top of your screen, or you can use E on your keyboard. Here, when we navigate towards our main toolbar, we have the new section here called Extensions, and inside we have the noiseless RAW. Now, depending if you're using JPEG or RAW file, it will either say Noiseless AI for the JPEGs and Noiseless RAW for the RAW files. Once you're ready, just click on it to open it and we can start to use it. Now, if you want to learn more about how to use this extension, you can watch the videos available on our YouTube channel. And if you want to go a little deeper, you should check out our Luminar NEO Masterclass, which has a full mini course on how to use the Noiseless AI and how to get the most out of this extension. Now, the use of this extension is actually really simple. On the top we have an advice which mentioned that we should use the high adjustment for this image. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna click on high preset and wait for it to apply the noise reduction. Once you click on the button, the AI starts to scan the image and look for the noise to see what is the best setting to remove the noise from your image. And after it's finished, it zooms you in to 100% and show you the result of the noise reduction. Now this is it. I want to just leave it with the auto setting and export it. I don't want to apply any of the sliders as that could affect the result. Now to export the image, you can just right click on it and choose export. In the export window, since we can't export in a DNG or RAW format, we need to change the format from JPEG to TIFF. And then make sure we choose the highest possible setting. So going through it, color space sRGB, format TIFF, compression none, depth 16 bits, and definitely at least 300 pixels on each on our resolution. We don't want any transparency and we want to keep the original size. Once we're happy, we just click on save. The software number 2 is the ON1 NoNoise AI 2022. So what you need to do after you open the application is just to drag and drop the image on the actual screen. Once you do that, it will open a screen with few tips and then it will open the image. You can already see the before and after, and looking at the setting, once again we want to go for the auto here. Now all we want to do is to export the image in a TIFF format so we keep the same file format across the test. So what to do, we're going to go on the top, click on File and then click on Export. That will open another window and again we're going for the TIFF. So let's just have a look at the setting. Naming is all good and here we just want to make sure that we are on a file type TIFF. Quality, we're gonna just leave it on none. We don't want anything to do here. In a profile, same thing, bit depth 16 bits and that's about it. Once we finish, we just click on Export. Now the software number 3 is the DxO PureRAW 2. So again, similar system, we're gonna drag and drop the file on the application and it will open here. Once the image is loaded, we need to process it and export it. For this, we need to go to our top left corner of the screen and click on Process Photos. Here, adjust the setting, but once again, we're going for the auto setting, so we just want to use the Deep Prime. Then adjust the format. As there is no TIFF here, we're gonna stick with DNG and convert it later. And then all you need to do is to adjust the folder. And then once you're happy, just click on the Process button. And finally, the fourth application, DeNoise AI by Topaz. So again, same system, we just drag and drop the image on the application and we're gonna give it a moment to load it and prepare it. Just like with the other software, we're gonna be using the auto setting and once it's finished, we're gonna export it in a TIFF format. After it's finished, you just wanna click on Save Image and here you can adjust the settings. Once again, we're gonna be using the TIFF file here. In a TIFF file, we wanna make sure that we have no compression. We go for the 16 bits and then we can adjust the name. Inside of the color profile, let's go for the sRGB, just like with the other files. And once we're happy, we just click on Save. Okay, so we are finished, and now we can look at the results and compare them with each other. In the meantime, I also made a JPEG copy of the main file and run it through the software so we can see the results for that too. Now starting with the original image, what we're gonna do? First, we look at the overall image. Then we're gonna zoom 100% and look at the area with the texture to look out for details and the noise reduction. And then we're just gonna go to the space with just the texture and see how the application did there. So this is the original image. And now let's move to the next one, which is the ON1 NoNoise 2022. So starting first of all, looking at the overall view without any zoom. So I think that this result looks quite good from this view. Looking at it, the details are still there, and if I would have to mark it between 1 to 10, I would give it a 7 points. Now let's move to the next one, which is the DxO PureRAW, and that one looks even better. Looking at it, it keeps the natural feel of the image, the sharpness is there, and looking at it from this view, lots of the noise is gone. So if I have to mark it, I would probably go somewhere between 8 to 9 points. Now moving to the next one, which is our Topaz DeNoise AI. Now looking at this, the result is actually quite disappointing. Looking at it from this view, I would probably give it something between 4 to 5 points, as you can clearly see the noise in all the different areas. It didn't lose the sharpness, however, it didn't remove too much of a noise neither. Finally, we have our Noiseless AI, so let's select it and let's have a look at it. Now looking at it from this view, I think it did little better job than the DeNoise AI, and I would give it 6 points. After this, it's time to zoom in to 100% and look at the area with the texture and details. So once again, let's go to the beginning and zoom in 100%. Then navigate towards the flower and start from here. So you can see a little bit of the effect of the noise reduction. Some of the details are lost. However, in overall, I think the result is pretty good. And if I would have to give it a result, I would probably go somewhere between 5 to 6 points. Now we're gonna move to the DxO PureRAW and again look at the result. Now looking at it, I think the result is great. The noise is almost gone. There is no color noise and the details are still great. So for the DxO, I would go between 6 to 7 points. After that, we're gonna go to the Topaz. Now looking at the Topaz, as we probably already know by looking at it from the bigger view, you can see that the noise is still here. The color noise is gone, the sharpness is still there, however there is still lots of noise on the image. So for the Topaz on this one, I would give it 3 points. After that, moving to our Noiseless AI. The Noiseless AI, I think, lost a little bit more details than Topaz. However, it still kept some of the color noise. So in overall, I would also go for something between 4 or 5. To finish this part of the test, we're gonna go back to the beginning and then navigate to the area where there is just the background. Starting with the NoNoise AI, you can see that the result is pretty good. And again, most of the noise is gone except some of the areas, which is something we're going to see again on the JPEG files. So it does pretty good job, however it has these patches of noise remaining, and if I have to give it a mark, I would probably stick to 5. Now moving towards the DxO. Looking at the same area, the noise is a little bit more visible here, it's still here, however I think most of the color noise is gone and the result is very uniform. So to give it a result, I would go somewhere between 5 or 6. Moving towards the Topaz. Looking at the result, I think the result is pretty bad. There is still lots of noise here, and even though most of the color noise is gone, it's not really great. So I think if we would have to give it a mark, something between 2 or 3 would be right. Moving finally to the Noiseless AI. Looking at it in overall, there is a little bit less noise than with the Topaz. However, you can see reminders of the color noise and the grain noise, and again, the result isn't really great. So I think if we would have to give it a mark, we would again have to stick between 3 or 4. So let's zoom back, and those are the results for our RAW files, and it's time to move on the JPEGs. Now we're gonna continue the reviews by looking at the JPEG files. So again, let's move here and start by looking at the original file. So this is when I took the DNG file and exported it as a JPEG, without any additional edits to it. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna be looking at the overall image, and then we're gonna zoom 100%, look at the sharpness and noise reduction there, and then we're gonna move to the side and look at just the background. So first of all, we're gonna look at the NoNoise AI. So let's click on it to select it and start with the overall view. Looking at it, some parts are not looking that bad, however, some having these really weird artifacts. You can see like a blobs of pixels being put together, and the result isn't really great at all. If I would have to mark it, I think something like 2 or 3 is probably as far as it can go. After that, we're gonna be looking at the Topaz DeNoise. The reason being that the PureRAW by DxO doesn't at the moment apply noise reduction to the JPEG files. So we're gonna skip that and move straight to the Topaz. And looking at it from the overall view, it actually did better job than when it was working on the RAW file. I think the result is pretty cool, most of the noise is gone and the sharpness is still very good. After that, it's time to look at the Noiseless AI. So let's select it and have a look at it. And when you look between the two of them, there isn't really big difference between the Topaz and between the Luminar NEO Noiseless AI. I think most of the noise is gone, the color noise isn't that visible neither, and the sharpness and details are there. So now we're gonna come back and we're gonna zoom in 100%. Once again, we're gonna navigate towards the area with the texture and some details, and we're gonna look at it from here. Now looking at the flower, I think the noise reduction is pretty good there. Some details are still there. However, once again, these areas with these kind of patches of artifacts really take away the edit, and it is almost on the edge of not usable. So the result of the NoNoise AI on a JPEG really isn't that great. If I would have to mark it from here, once again, maximum 1 or 2. Going to the Topaz and staying at the same spot, I think the result is much better. The sharpness is lacking a little bit, however, the noise reduction is really good. There are still some reminders of the noise, but in overall, the result is very good, and if I would have to mark it, I would go somewhere between 6 or 7. And finally, our Noiseless AI, staying on the same spot, once again, pretty much a similar result. Maybe there is a little bit more noise visible, however, the result is pretty good. The sharpness is there as well, and in overall, I would go somewhere between 5 or 6. To finish it off, let's go back to the beginning and just move to the area of just the background. And this is where you can really see the artifacts in a full swing. You can see different blobs of pixels together with different areas of the noise. And again, really something what you probably wouldn't be able to use at all. Moving to the Topaz and moving to the same area, I think it's much better. It's much more natural, and in overall, most of the noise is gone. So if I have to mark it, on this one, I would probably go for somewhere between 6 or 7 again. Looking at the NoNoise AI, I would stick to 1 or 2. And to finish it off, we have the Noiseless AI here. And again, when we navigate towards this area, I think this is where maybe the result is not as good as the DeNoise AI, however, better than the NoNoise AI. So looking at it, if I would have to give it a mark, I think 4 or 5 would be fine. As the result is still usable, you could do some editing to it and take it from there. So looking at it in overall, I think the winner when it comes to RAW file is definitely the PureRAW 2. I think the result is pretty incredible. And yes, for the price of £115, you will get what you're paying for. Now looking at the JPEGs and the noise reduction there, I have to say that the DeNoise AI and Noiseless AI did pretty good job there, and I was quite happy with the result. Although the NoNoise AI did pretty good job on the RAW files, it completely failed on the JPEG, and I think that result was actually unusable. Of course that we have to remember that this is just one example of the image, and the effect and the noise reduction will be different on all different kind of subjects. If you want to see it yourself, you should go ahead and download the sample files, and you can study them even further and see what you want to go for and what you think. I would love to find out what you think, and if you download the sample files, make sure you let me know in the comments which one you think did the best. In overall, I think they are all great pieces of a software, and if you already own Luminar NEO, I think the Noiseless AI is a great choice. The NoNoise AI or PureRAW 2 is also excellent and brought some excellent results when it came to raw images. And the DeNoise AI really is excellent tool across the industry. And if you already have it, you should definitely continue using it. So I know I'm not really giving you advice if you should go for the Noiseless AI, but looking at it, first of all, Noiseless AI is 2 days old, so I'm sure that the results will only improve. And number 2, if you already own Luminar NEO, the fact that you can just use it in application really give you great edge. And there you have it. If you want a copy of our popular Luminar NEO shortcut cheat sheet, there is nothing easier than heading to our website cleverphotographer.com/luminargift. While you're there, you can also check out one of our popular Luminar NEO products, or you can stay here and watch more videos about Luminar NEO. For today, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure that you like, comment and share on this video. And also don't forget to subscribe to our channel so we can keep creating content like this. For today, thank you very much for watching. My name was Jakub, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.